Hello, this is Marianne Marlowe of This Love Works, and I wanted to address something that I oftentimes hear in my office. And this is the basis of conflict management, oftentimes for couples. And the idea is, how do I move past an argument when I always feel like I'm the one that's wrong, right? Like, I'm always wrong, right? The whole Eeyore thing. And so one of the things that I really like to do is start to dismantle the false belief about the win or lose structure of couples conflict management. Most of the time, that is what we learned from our family of origin, that there was a winner and a loser, and somebody was always not going to get what they wanted. Or what I hear a lot about is compromise, right? Meaning that, well, I have to give a little and my partner has to give a little, and then we're each going to get something. What we forget about is that in the prospect of having a winner or a loser, we jump onto the victim triangle, right? We jump onto the drama, Cartman's drama triangle of victim, persecutor, rescuer. And that there's got to be somebody who's going to be the persecutor, they're going to win, and or the rescuer, they're going to win, they're going to, save the day. And then there is the victim, somebody who doesn't get what they want, they're the loser in the whole situation. So the importance about that is that we start to look at this as a codependent pattern of behavior that exists in relationships. There's an assumption that I'm going to lose. Now, sometimes, especially if you grew up in the kind of environment where there were winners and losers, our nervous system goes into a place of dysregulation, right? We start to have that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn response. So the very first thing that we have to pay attention to is to stop the negative thinking that can oftentimes get us circling the drain, the relationship, drain, and really allow ourselves to, stop, drop, and roll from an emotional perspective, which means, stop the negative thinking, drop down into your body. Oftentimes when we get that kind of dysregulation, we go into shock and we literally sort of leave our ability to connect with the part of our brain that allows us to think and problem solve. And then we've got to be able to roll into a different pattern of behavior, a different way of thinking. So the most important thing is for us to address it directly. And oftentimes what I'll talk to couples about is that when you start to have these kinds of regular patterns where there's a winner and a loser, that should throw up a yellow flag for you. And a yellow flag in a relationship means that this is something for us to pay attention to. It's a pattern of behavior that's not working. And when we have winners and losers in relationships, that tells you that it's not working, right? Because one of the principles of good couples relationships is that we're in it together. So we've got to be able to address the pattern of behavior directly. And if I notice that I have been assuming that I'm going to be the loser in the relationship, I need to step out of that negative thought pattern. And I also have to pay attention to what are my patterns of coping with the false belief that I'm going to be a loser, that I'm going to lose this, right? Is it that I have to, hold my ground and fight it out? Do I withdraw by, rolling over and giving up what I want? Do I, kind of like fawn and manipulate my partner into trying to give me what I want? Or, do I freeze and go into shock and stonewall and give my partner the silent treatment, right? So what happens in the pattern of behavior. It's a really important thing for us to pay attention to. So what's my false belief about myself, right? I'm a loser. I'm not gonna, get this right. Maybe I don't even deserve to get it right. And then what is the coping mechanism that I use to try and manage that false belief? So it's really important for us to stop and recognize what's going on. I also have to recognize where I enter onto the drama triangle, the victim triangle, right? Do I then try and rescue you? Do I give you what you want because I'm afraid of how you might behave? So if I have this prospect that somebody's going to win and somebody's going to lose, that should be the yellow flag to you. Stop and recognize what's happening. The most important thing is that you address it directly with your partner as soon as possible. The longer that we go on with negative behaviors, especially when we become conscious and aware of them, we continue to entrench old negative patterns, which is not good for the relationship. So repairing quickly is very important. Addressing things in a way that our partner can hear us is very, very important. There's a lot of tools that you can access in order to be able to have productive conversations with your person. So remember, in relationship, there isn't a winner and a loser, that we have to be on the same side of issues, because two really is better than one when we're problem solving. And we have to pay attention in relationship to ensuring that the outcome is good for me and good for thee, that there's a win-win in all of our interactions. So I'll leave you with that, because remember, when you focus on good for me and good for thee, you're going to help to make your love work. This is Marianne Marlowe of This Love Works, and see you soon.